It's becoming more and more likely that a tropical system will make landfall in the Carolinas early next week. I'm meteorologist Andrew Markowitz, and here's everything you need to know. And as always, we'll give you the full breakdown with no hype, no nonsense, and no fear-mongering. First things first, Umberto has officially become a hurricane, our third of the 2025 season. In the last few frames, you can see a clearly defined eye in the center, meaning that Umberto is primed for rapid intensification. Model guidance now shows that Umberto could peak as a Category 4. If that happens, that means that the first three hurricanes of the season, Aaron, Gabrielle, and Umberto, would have been Category 4 or greater intensity. That has only happened one other time in recorded history, 1935. Thankfully, Umberto will recurve harmlessly out to sea. That's because of a cold front that's descending from Atlantic Canada, just like what happened with Hurricane Aaron. The main concern, though, continues to be Invest 94L, which is still a disorganized blob of storms near Hispaniola. The latest hurricane models show future Imelda tracking to the north-northwest to the Bahamas over the weekend and then making landfall likely in South Carolina on Monday or Tuesday. However, if we take a look at the GFS and European ensemble, you can see that it's still split into two distinct camps. About half the members show Imelda taking a left turn and making landfall in the southeast, but the other half show it recurving out to sea like Umberto. If Imelda is faster and outruns Umberto, she will be turned to the west and make landfall due to the influence of high pressure to the north. But if Imelda is slower and Umberto comes out ahead, they will do a dance around each other, and that will actually force Imelda to recurve out to sea. This is because of the Fujiwara effect. In terms of intensity, Imelda is most likely to end up as a strong tropical storm, but could end up reaching Category 1 hurricane status upon landfall. Again, I want to emphasize that this is a very complicated setup with a lot of moving pieces, and thus confidence in the forecast is still fairly low. Having said that, between those two scenarios of a landfall in the US or a recurve out to sea, I definitely think the landfall is more likely at this point. But until we get that defined center of circulation and get a better idea on the trajectory and forward speed, it is still subject to change. If Imelda makes landfall over the southeast, the issue is that she will be surrounded by high pressure in all directions, meaning that she will be stalled for several days. Thankfully, the storm will progressively weaken over land due to friction. This means there will be a continuous flow of tropical moisture starting this weekend well before Imelda gets there and continuing through at least the middle of next week. Between the predecessor rain event this weekend and Imelda, we'll see bands of heavy rain filtering into the mid-Atlantic and southeast, with the Carolinas the likely epicenter. The European model suggests that the hardest hit areas could see over a foot to perhaps more than 20 inches of rain over the coming days, which would pose a major flooding threat. The location and magnitude of this band is dependent on the ultimate track of the storm, however. Tropical storm force winds are likely near the center of the storm, and we could also see some tornadoes north and east of the center. Where things stand right now, in the higher end scenario, I would be preparing for a landfall as a strong tropical storm or a Category 1 hurricane in South Carolina on late Monday or early Tuesday. If it does take that track, then the biggest and most widespread concern is going to be for the flooding, and I know people are especially sensitive given that it is the 1-year anniversary of Hurricane Helene. If you are in the eastern half of Georgia, far eastern Tennessee, all of South Carolina, all of North Carolina, southern half of Virginia, you need to be bracing for a significant storm. And yes, this does include areas that are well inland and also areas that were severely impacted by Helene. Now, to be clear, this storm will not be nearly as strong as Helene was, nor will it dump as much rain in the hardest hit areas, but nevertheless, it is something we need to take seriously. Now, I think by tomorrow, we should have a lot more clarity on what's going to happen with Imelda, but in the meantime, it's very important to make sure you are listening to degreed and professional meteorologists as well as your local officials. It's also not a bad idea to start stocking up on essential items, but that's mostly out of precaution. Please share this video with anybody in the path of the storm, and I encourage everybody to please stay safe and heed all warnings. For more updates on the storm and other severe weather all around the world, please make sure to follow me on all social media platforms so you can stay weather aware.